And then while we're doing this interview, is there anything that you can think of that you really want to, like a main point that you want to drive, or a main focus of to try to drive home? Because with these events, we get lost in talking about it, and there may be a real defined thing that we're trying to do through all this, and then we sometimes lose that through the conversation. But is there anything that you think that we would hyper focus on, or just anything that you can think of? Just let me know.
I mean, I can say it right off the bat. Human rights is a local issue. Human rights begin home and spread abroad. And this is what that festival is going to drive home again and again. Human rights is local and global.
All right. So we will. There we go. Okay. All right.
How's my camera for you?
It looks good. It looks like a little higher. Yeah.
Is that better? Okay. Mm-hmm. What about the lighting? It seems dark.
It did seem like it got a little darker when it raised up or something. And see, when you tilt it down and look, see now it's like lighter.
Is this okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yep. All right. And okay. So here we go.
T-Mill, come out and play.
Play it loud.
We're changing the status quo one voice at a time, through music, edutainment, children, and awareness. We're progressing and preserving the culture through real conversations with people who've had real success. Multicultural artists and musicians, models, entrepreneurs, innovators, and activists. This is Paradox East, and you are in tune with T-Mill. Powered by the MaitlandConservatory.org.
Thank you for listening to In Tune with T-Mill.
Hey, In Tune with T-Mill. You will now be encouraged and entertained. Nothing will change until you change something, and we are here to change the status quo one voice at a time. And I have a very special guest with me, and we want to tell you about an invitation happening this weekend to a film festival for everyone. I'm talking every age, no matter what your interests are. This film festival is for you. I want to shout out the United Women of Color and helping us welcome our guest, Dr. Noelle Hunter. How you doing?
I'm doing well, T-Mill. How are you?
Better than I deserve. It is the weather's getting a little bit cooler. It's not as hot.
I love it.
I didn't think we would make it this far.
We made it one more time.
Woo! Goodness gracious.
It was hot.
Yes. So we have this film festival that is happening this weekend, September 14th through the 16th, the Human Rights Film Festival on the campus of the University of Alabama in Huntsville, otherwise known as UAH.
Yes.
So, Dr. Noelle, can you tell us a little bit about what is taking place over these few days at this film festival?
Sure. Thank you. And thank you so much for having us on. And thanks to United Women of Color for being one of our primary coordinating sponsors and just so present and important in our community. So the Huntsville Human Rights Film Festival is September 14th through the 16th. And we have an array of films and guest speakers and dialogues, all to drive home that human rights is local. Huntsvillians, North Alabamians, Madison Countyans, we all are deserving of basic human rights. And sometimes those get kind of lost in the way. And so this film is designed to, this film festival is designed to spotlight human rights, our community mental health, the ability for us to live free and have humane policing, Food insecurity is being spotlighted because no one in our community should be going hungry with the vast amount of resources that we have. And then also environmental health. We all deserve to live in clean, safe communities. And so over the course of those days, we're showing films. We've got guest speakers. There's free food, swag, lots of good stuff going on. And we want all our community to come out for it.
Yes, and there's also policing in there, environmental health, and like you mentioned, community mental health, and then food insecurities. So let's walk through each day of the festival, if you will, and kind of tell us about what can we expect on starting that Thursday.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd love to walk through it. So starting on Thursday, there's a free film. You don't even have to leave your house. It's a virtual screening of Angel of Alabama. And there's a local advocate. Her name is Brenda Hampton. She is fierce. She's in Lawrence County, and she has really led the nation in identifying something called PFAs, forever chemicals, contaminants in our water supply. Decatur, that area, is known for it. And so there's a free film called Angel of Alabama, and it's her life and showing how she's going through communities, raising awareness. But then also she goes to Washington. Every time I look up, she's on a flight going to Washington to advocate for clean and safe drinking water. So the link is right there. When people go to the page, you can click on it anytime. And so I was pretty excited about that. And then the next day is our festival kickoff. I'm super excited about this because we have, to start us off, we have a special artist. His name is Chris Blue. He was the season 12 winner of The Voice, and he is debuting a new song called Rose Petals. And it's a tribute, an anthem to those who have lost their lives in the from police violence. We know there's a problem with Black and brown people and policing. And so his appearance kicks off an evening with Michael Brown Sr. Michael Brown Sr. is the father of departed Michael Brown Jr., who was killed by police in Ferguson, Missouri in 2014. So we're bringing in him that night for an event called Chosen for Change. And we got to talk about, why we're still talking about Black and brown people dying at the hands of police unnecessarily. So that's going on Saturday.
Outstanding.
On Friday.
Yes. And then that takes us into Saturday, which will tell us about what's kicking off on Saturday.
Okay, so Saturday is the big day. Saturday is the main festival day, and it's on the campus of UAH. By the way, the evening with Michael Brown Sr. is at historic Lakeside United Methodist Church. That church has been a pillar in our social justice movement in this community for decades. And so it's just right that the evening with Michael Brown and Chosen for Change is there. Now, Saturday is the main festival day. And so just like any film festival, we have 4 rooms that films and dialogues are screening all day. We're starting off with our partners at A&M Cooperative Extension. They are doing some sessions on combating inner stress, because one of the tracks is on mental health. A&M Cooperative Extension also has a workshop on healthy eating, because health is wealth. So those start us off. And then we're really moving into the dialogue and the panels. So the first room is on policing. And we're starting with a documentary called To Live and Die in Alabama. Tim, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a deceased African-American named Nathaniel Woods. He was executed in Alabama and didn't kill anybody. It was well established that he was executed by the state. Obviously, it was well established that he didn't. So we start the day like that with that film. And then we move through. We've got a feature matinee called Clemency, featuring the amazing Alfre Woodard. And then we move into an intersectional conversation. And this is where we're bringing in the family of Crystal Ragland. You may know that Crystal Ragland was killed by police during a mental health episode. And her family is coming to share during a panel called Veterans, Mental Health and Policing. It could have gone differently. It really could have gone differently. And so her family will speak alongside a member of the Huntsville Police Advisory Committee, because out of her senseless death, Huntsville is now sensitized to sending out humane responses for crisis mental health. Yeah. And so we have some other panel discussions and another film called The King of Staten Island, which is kind of a pop culture look at mental health and mental illness. We have something very special. Southern Exposure Films is taking over our environmental track. So all day long, they're showing films called What About the Drinking Water and Soiled, and these brief films and commentary about our drinking water and our waterways. And then importantly, we have a film and panel discussion called Faith and Justice in the Coverage Gap. And Alabama is one of very few states that has not expanded Medicaid. And there are over 300,000 Alabamians who don't have access to health care. And this is a film and panel discussion with faith leaders who are encouraging Alabama to get us out of this coverage gap. So those are the main highlights for Saturday, plus a resource fair. So it's a big day.
Yes. And so we're talking about this film festival, everyone, that is happening this weekend at UAH, the Human Rights Film Festival, the second annual Human Rights Film Festival. That's going to be 3 days of plenty of information, solutions, panels, discussions, and things that will raise questions in your own conscience about how do we fix this? Where do we go to do these things? And as you mentioned on Saturday, a lot of these films, it starts at 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. And so you have a whole day where these films are playing, all day. So if you miss one track, you can, don't worry, just go into the next one. You've got time. So you don't have to pick and choose which one that you're going to go to. You don't miss anything. There's also, you mentioned food, and these are the films that we're talking about. We're addressing things that are happening right here in our neighborhood and community. So it's not like you're going to watch films about some other place that doesn't matter, or at least you think it doesn't matter because it's not. How does this affect me? This has nothing to do with it. Does. We're talking about right here in the Tennessee Valley. And chances are, someone, either you or someone is affected by at least one of these topics that is going to be covered, or someone somewhere that could be of resource and solution to. One of the things you also mentioned was the food disparities, and I see the film Hunger to Learn and the high cost of college might be your health. Talk a little bit about that as well, because you mentioned the disparities in food, and sometimes we just think that, oh, there's plenty of food in Tennessee Valley. There's plenty of food in Huntsville and Madison and Decatur, and I see food drives all the time. So talk about that a little bit.
Oh, thank you so much for reminding me of that important element of this festival as well. As you said, right now I'm participating in one of my civic groups in a canned food drive. The fact that we're still seeing them means that there is a hunger problem.
There
and so we shouldn't be desensitized. We're raising resources for food because people are hungry. Children are hungry. And in particular, one of these films is called Hungry to Learn, The High Cost of College May Be Your Health. College students in particular are a vulnerable population that we don't think about, because you think, oh, they got a meal plan. Not really. College is very, very expensive, as we all know. And so sometimes students have to make a decision as to whether I'm going to eat or pay my tuition. And so we have a very special focus on that. And we've got some community partners who are actually going to bring in some of those backpacks, the ones that you hear for schools, the backpack program sending home food for elementary and secondary school children. There's other people who get hungry as well. And so this fourth track is about food insecurity in our community, but then also nationally. We're showing a film called Seat at the Table, and it really pulls back the curtain about how many Americans suffer from basic hunger every day. And there's probably someone listening right now who is. And so come out. There's food available there. And
I was just going to ask that question, because I said, you know what? There's a lot of films going on, and 9 o'clock.
Yes, we're going to feed them too.
After that biscuit is worn off, and you're like, I would love to stay, but the way my stomach is talking to me, I don't know if I can make it through the rest of the films.
You are absolutely right. So we recognize that. So there's food in the morning, there's coffee and pastries and that in the morning. We've got full-on concessions, popcorn, movie box candy, all those things that you would have at a festival anyway. So come get your Skittles, your Snickers. And then again, during that food insecurity track, there's other types of food items going on. And so if you're hungry, come too. I can say that with all sincerity. There'll be some pizza around.
There you go. Outstanding. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Dr. Noelle Hunter about the second annual Human Rights Film Festival, free this Friday, Saturday, and Thursday, Friday and Saturday at the campus of UAH in Huntsville. Now, for those that maybe they can't make it this weekend, or they, for whatever reason, they're not able to attend, will there be a chance or an opportunity for them to, kind of follow up and see these films or get this information? And, how can people talk about it after, and maybe, be a part of it, or at least get that information, and they maybe not be able to be there this weekend?
Okay, thank you. I love that question for two reasons. Because one, the festival sensitizes us to the work. The work is after the festival and really going and being a part of the communities. And so several of the films that will be shown here are now a part of the UAH collections. And so we will create a special page that people can go back to and view. Not all of them. We don't have licensing, but Angel of Alabama, Ernie and Joe Crisis Cops, which is a film that we're showing in conjunction with the Crystal Ragland panel, that there is humane policing out there. Some of these films will be available on this page that you're showing to your to your audience. And so, yes. And then importantly, after that, if I could just have one takeaway, again, human rights is local. We can and should be concerned about gross human rights violations at a national level, at a global level. We can also care at home. We can also feed people at home. We can also respond humanely to people experiencing a mental health crisis at home. We can also be concerned about clean drinking water and safe, livable communities at home. And so, my kind of motto is human rights begins at home and spreads abroad. Of course, that is an extension of one of our classical biblical verses. And so that's my pitch for the festival. And I hope people come out. It really is transformative.
Yes, because I want everyone to also share this. If you're watching this and you have, just takes a real quick second to click that share button and to tell someone, as we say, tell a friend to tell a friend, tag a couple people. You tag everyone when, there's a concert going on, or, the football game, or there's a brand new restaurant opening, and you tag all your friends and say, hey, we're going here. Tag your friends in this as well, folks that need to know this. Everyone needs to know this. It's not just a thing where if you think that it doesn't affect you and you go, well, I'm good. I eat every day. I've got human rights and I've got this and that. Kudos to you. Someone else, plenty of other people need this information. And so if you've got enough, hey, just share the information with someone. And as much as things are happening around the Tennessee Valley, and as much as we're all in our own worlds and things like that, I've got to be honest and transparent that Dr. Noelle, I'm looking at the date that this was posted, June 5th of 2023. This is the first time I've heard about it when I spoke with our friend Angela. And I often, think that I'm, cruising around sites for community events, and I get press releases in my inbox and I see things come down the timeline. But there's always things like this that we miss, no matter how much, we advertise and we talk to people. So it's important. I bring that up for people to continue to share and reach out to people. And I thank them so much for getting in touch with me, because I don't want anyone to assume that anyone in media knows everything that's happening, because there's just too much.
There's a lot going on. And it's wonderful.
It's a good problem to have, but we also have to take it a little bit further and get back to reaching out to one another and saying, hey, do you know this is going on? And just helping share the information. So I really encourage everyone to do that, because these are all things that we need to know, that we need to talk about. And Dr. Noelle, what I'm really proud about and hoping that this event will do is solve, and start to put to action some of these things, things that we can do and that we can control. I'd love to see change happen in, the political offices and our civic leaders and things like that. but there's a lot that we can also do on the ground floor, for ourselves, and much that we are doing, because again, we talked about the food drives, we talked about, those things, but if we can also push our, political power and
Yes.
voting and things like that to make sure that it hits on, because it starts to wane on those that are doing it on the ground level, the churches and the organizations that they don't have the money, to continue to do this. And imagine if they had the backing of some of the money from the state, imagine if again, like we said, the community policing, imagine if they had the resources and the funds to be able to do these things, then I think we would go a long way. And it's just simple, so Dr. Noel, anything you want to leave us with, that final invitation to the film festival happening this Thursday, the University of Alabama in Huntsville? Anything you want to tell us about for that?
Yes, please. I would just encourage folks to, one, as you said, share. Everything is free. And there's good incentives to come out, both things to do and things to see, but also an opportunity to get involved. So remember, Thursday, you don't even have to leave your house. Everybody can watch Angel of Alabama, and it's fascinating. Just click on the link there. It's available all day. Friday is the kickoff event with voice artist Christopher Blue, season 12 winner. It's at Lakeside United Methodist Church, and following him is a conversation and evening with Michael Brown. Come be reminded about why Ferguson matters, why Ferguson rises. The film we're showing is still irrelevant, why we're still having to say the names of Michael Brown Jr., Breonna Taylor. We could spend the rest of our time naming the names. And so come out Friday for that. Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. all day long on Morton Hall on the UAH campus. Lots of great films on mental health, policing, environmental health, and food insecurity. And then just please share. And then after that is when the work begins. There's a lot of goodness going on in our community. And this is how we continue to transform. We add person after person to this movement for human rights. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. And one other thing that I forgot to ask was the community resource fair. There's a community resource fair on Saturday's main festival day. So you get to meet all of the community leaders and the resources that we have right here in the Tennessee Valley. You get to meet when those things that you're asking, do we have this available or do we have, you start to know so many resources and places of solutions and people that you can count on right here that you had no idea existed. Trust me, there is plenty of solutions and resources here. Yes. We just have to talk about it and share and figure it out, So thank you, Dr. Noel Hunter, for joining us this afternoon. I want to see everyone come out to this event, and if I weren't already committed to an event this weekend, 3 days, it was actually 3 days as well. But I definitely want to follow up to make sure that I can, find some of these films, find some of this information for myself to share, and then to figure out in my own world how I can contribute and help fix a lot of these opportunities that we have, because it not only affects me, it affects the people that I love in my community and my environment. I don't want anyone on my street getting sick and not having clean water and
not be hungry.
Like that doesn't make any sense, So thank you for coming out and sharing this information with us.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, and thank you to your listeners as well.